critical race theory is not being taught in schools. It is a academic theory that's pretty much delegated only to higher academia.
First of all, you're wrong. It is being taught in elementary schools. I'll give you an example. Not only is it being taught, it's being enforced. In Denver, there is a playground where they say white families not allowed. In the National Education Association's training manual, which is the largest teacher union in the country, they had a seminar on how to teach critical race theory to kids. That sounds like it's in our schools, doesn't it?
What that is it's literally just common sense.
Would you say that black-only dormitories is wrong?
It certainly creates a sense of community. I don't see any problem with that. We have sororities, we have male-only dorms.
Right. So racial differences are irrelevant and immaterial. Chromosomal differences actually do matter. Why would we have different dormitories for races?
Culture.
Segregation is what you're arguing for, my friend.
6 weeks is not a baby. You take that 6-week thing out, it is not a living, breathing, sustaining baby.
Sure, but it has heartbeat.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It has an electrical
When do heartbeats begin?
No, the heartbeat, it's not a heart. It is an electrical impulse. There is no heart
Did y'all not see the
in
article
that.
of the woman who literally was not allowed
No,
to
you
get
are
an
wrong.
abortion
You
in
could
the
go.
sense
You could
of
go to any
sacrifice.
ultrasound of a pregnant
on
woman
her
at 6
hospital
weeks,
bed
and
for
you will
6
hear a
weeks.
heartbeat.
That is not a heartbeat in what you consider. What you consider a heartbeat is not an actual heartbeat. It's not the same as actually having blood pumping
There was
through
an article
veins
about that
in a
one
body.
last time I
It is the electrical impulse as
woman
cells
sat on
grow
the
and divide.
hospital.
You call those beings a fetus.
Yeah,
What species is that fetus?
it's the human species.
Right. So that's a human life, isn't it?
So my question is, given that 97% of scientists agree that man-made climate change exists and that it will cause negative impacts in our lifetime, from more severe storms to droughts, how do you as a conservative deal with that fact, and what do you want to do to address it?
Sure. I'm really curious about the 3%, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess I don't know, 3% of people think that if they can fly, but they can't, you know?
But it's 3% of scientists. Why do they think it's not anthropogenic?
I don't think about the 3%. I think about the 97%.
Is science a
just
democracy?
like how we think about 97% of people who are struggling day to day. We don't think about the 1%.
Well, hold on. That's not the way science works. Do we take an up or down vote on Newtonian physics? Who thinks force equals mass times acceleration? It's irrelevant because we can prove it. The point is this: science is not a democracy. The dissenter in science is always given a platform. That's what the scientific method is all about.
At some point, somebody's truth has to win. Because guess what? Your truth doesn't matter.
But
That's
guess
still
what?
a truth
You've had
claim.
your truth in this country for the past thousands of decades.
Thousands of decades.
Not thousands. Whatever. My bad. That's a little embarrassing. But
Not good.
your truth has been the narrative of this country forever. And you think
Roe
yes,
versus
the
Wade
white
just
straight
got
male truth.
repealed. Abortion was legal in this country for 40 years.
And before the 40 years, what was
And
it?
crime dropped
Thankfully
40%
illegal.
after it
And
went.
on top of that, do you
Wait,
not
hold on.
think
Do you think abortion lowers crime rate?
does.
Crime dropped
100%.
40% after abortion became legal.
Why is that the case?
It's called a statistic.
Who has the most abortions in America?
Woman.
Black people. Is that
Black
so? Are you
women.
trying to say the termination of blacks in the womb lowers crime? That's a very racist argument.
That is not.
You said we should stop talking about racism, but we have a problem in the country. You're not a racist. As often as I've been around you, you've never said anything that has been racist. But the left, they constantly say that you're racist. That's right. And if we don't talk about the problem that they're trying to create, it will never go away.
I'm exhausted with talking about race all the time, right? I'm happy to also push back on who's actually the ones that are being racist, and the people that are pushing black-only dormitories in America, that's racist.
Exactly.
Right? The people that are saying that we should have value on skin color and not content of character, that's racist. I feel as if when you focus on those issues, we're just constantly talking about what divides us, right? And I think you understand my heart in that way.
Exactly. But it's only the left that's constantly pushing that. They're constantly pushing it, and I get it all the time. So thank you.
God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Do you believe there is any evidence of systemic racism in this country?
Absolutely not. No. There's no evidence of systemic racism, meaning that there's no laws that are written with the intent or even the conclusion to harm certain different communities based on the color of their skin. Here's where they always go to. Just because there's disparities does not mean there's discrimination. Disparate outcomes can be blamed on a lot of different things other than racial discrimination. If you guys want to go on a scholarly journey, please go read Thomas Sowell's book, Discrimination and Disparities. But here's the reality of it. If you get married before you have kids, you get a job, any job, and you graduate from high school and don't commit crimes and you're not totally reckless with money, regardless of skin color, you can succeed in this country. We've done a pretty good job of preserving and maintaining that. A black child that is raised with a mother and father in the home is far more likely to succeed based on all independent metrics than a white child that's raised by a single mother. No, I don't believe in systemic racism, and nor should you. Thank you.
If you have a cure to diabetes,
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to sell that cure in the marketplace?
I would want to distribute it to everyone for free.
But
That's
how-
why I'm in the field, because
but
I would.
Can you name
I want.
one example of one thing that's ever been given out for free by the government? Because there's nothing that's free. It's paid for by somebody at some point at some level of distribution.
Okay, I mean, how about Jeff Bezos, who has like $50 billion or something?
Way more
He
than
can
that.
afford to pay for that,
100
right?
billion. How did Jeff Bezos get his money?
By exploiting his laborers and not paying them
Why,
enough,
if he's exploiting them, why do they work for him?
because they don't have another
But
opportunity to
there's
get
more
a job.
job openings available in America than actual people we have to fill the job. Have
Is-
you ever
we're-
used Amazon?
No, I actually.
Never.
No, I don't
But
buy
you
from
use,
them.
you use Starbucks.
Okay.
So Starbucks, that's a billionaire. You know how rich Howard Schultz is? He's worth $5 billion. So you're participating in his exploitation. You're participating in the market economy.
Well, it's impossible to buy things without participating in the
Hold on a
market
second.
economy.
You could have went to a farmer's market.
My question is, I debate often with people of color that look like me that they shouldn't support like BLM and all that nonsense. So, no, they haven't accepted my ideals. So, what would be the best counter argument for them to just stop supporting defunding police or reparations or things like that?
No. When you walk the streets in the cities, you're like, actually, we could use more cops. You don't have to go listen to some sort of abstract thinker about why police systemic racism, all that nonsense. So just be real. Talk about things that matter. In Black America, you talk about how we need a restoration of nuclear families. And ask the question, why is this the case? It's because of the reign of terror of white liberals. It's not white conservatives. It's not those MAGA semi-fascist people. No. It is the ideology of the woke that has imposed themselves on Black America. If that's really they want to go, I'll tell you, they've done more damage than any other community, and I think you could turn it on them. God bless you for being here tonight, man. Thank you.
So you started off your talk by saying that you oppose science insofar as it stands in the way of nature or it sort of rewrites nature, right? Is that like an accurate representation of your point? Or
It can cause a lot of damage, and not done under the proper moral framework. It's been one of the great killers of modern humanity. And so it's all a question of what is the intent, right? So I'll give you a great example. If the intent is to allow human beings to flourish, then I'm all for it. What's an example of that? How about a cesarean section? What an awesome medical breakthrough over the last 100 years. And so I'm all for scientific breakthroughs and progress, but that's with the intent of saving a human life. Properly administered, a C-section is life-giving. When you look at other things, there is no life-giving nature to abortion. One's an abortion, one's a cesarean section. Both require a doctor, they require, medication, they require breakthroughs, but they have two completely different moral premises. I think the government has a moral obligation to protect innocent life when confronted with the question of someone intervening to end that life.
I think there's a bit of a difference, and the analogy that I usually use, or the question that I usually ask pro-life people, is, do you believe that the government should mandate organ donation? We say that you shouldn't have to donate your organs, but the pro-life case seems to extend to the idea that even people who are living should have to give up their kidneys to people in hospitals, maybe?
I don't quite see it that way. Well, first of all, again, in 99.67% of the cases, the woman made a choice that could potentially...
And what about those 0.4%? What do you think should happen then?
Oh, I think the baby should be delivered. Doing something wrong after something evil is never the right thing. So, I mean, when it comes to mandating organ donations, I don't even see how that's applicable to the question. Because in 99.6% of the cases, 6-7% of the cases, the mother made a choice to be able to get pregnant.